Hey everyone, live stream today. You can catch it later, recorded as well. A lot has happened since the last time I did a podcast. Let's talk about a two-tier justice system, which I've known about for a number of years. This is not a new thing. It is just now becoming more mainstream. The left isn't even attempting to pretend there is a equal justice system for all of us. Hunter Biden should have been charged with. Let me read this here. Applicants who knowingly make false statements may also face criminal prosecution for a felony and up to 10 years in federal prison. He lied on his gun application, claiming he wasn't a drug addict, wasn't addicted to drugs. Well, that was a lie. Now, if any one of us had done that, we'd be looking at 5 to 10 years in prison. Federal prosecutors aggressively pursuing those who lie in connection with firearm transactions. This is out of Oklahoma City. Western District of Oklahoma is aggressively seeking to keep firearms out of the wrong hands by pursuing those who lie in connection with gun purchases. Several recent cases charged in federal court highlight these efforts. It's the same federal law, different district. So, did Hunter get preferential treatment? Yes. Did the same laws that apply to us apply to him? No. And he got off scot-free on making millions of dollars, which there's no evidence of where that money came from. He doesn't own a business. He doesn't produce anything. He doesn't offer any services. Where did money come from? Well, we know. So he didn't face any consequences for that either. Again, had it been any of us, they'd throw us in a slammer and throw away the key. You cannot have a free country, a free republic, when there is two separate legal systems. One of the main things that has separated us from any other country in history is we've always held our elected officials to the same standards legally as the rest of us. Everybody falls under the same laws. Well, that has been changing for quite a while. The legal system, if they view you as an important person, you're protected. They view you as somebody who's not going along with what they think you should go along with, agreeing with their BS, then they come after you. They don't tolerate anybody who challenges their authority, whether their authority is righteous or not. This has been going on for decades in this country. I've seen it myself a number of times. So is it a surprise to me? No. What is disturbing to me is our people, our so-called patriots, just going, well, that's what we can do about it. Use this as a glimpse of what will happen to all of you should they be successful in bringing communism to this country. You will be persecuted, jailed, whatever. You will be treated horribly because you disagreed with the left now or in the future. The laws that would protect you will be gone. And why shouldn't the left do that? I mean, you're not doing anything as by millions and millions of people demanding that the laws be equally applied now. So there's no reason for them to think that you should have the right to have them equally applied later. And should you start complaining about it not being equally applied later, it can be the last thing you complain about. This is how I thought authoritarianism, communism, tyranny, whatever you want to call it, this is how it operates. I know most of you don't understand that because you weren't taught history, nor have you ever found it necessary to study history or watch some really good documentaries about communism, about tyranny. I suggest you start doing that because your silence, your lack of action is inviting it to you and yours. Um, you can't be stupid, ignorant, lazy, and free all at the same time. Those things just don't work well together. If you're going to remain stupid and lazy, you're not going to keep your freedom. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being honest here. And you all get lied to enough by everyone else. You're not going to hear the lies from me. I got better things to do. Trying to tell the truth, trying to get you all to understand the truth is so far been impossible. And I'm not the only one. I know a lot of people do podcasts and they're facing the same problems. You all just don't participate in protecting your own selves, your own freedoms. You act like you have no dog in the fight. What you do is call yourself, your family, and well, everybody in the country. So this one on one talk day today is about we have a two-tiered justice system. Again, I've known about it for over 20 years. Now, every one of you should know about it now. And none of you should be saying there's nothing we can do about it because there's everything we can, should, and must do about it. You have to stop being silent. Silence is consent. You're telling our enemies, do whatever you want to us. There's nothing we're going to do to stop you. And I know people say, well, Trump will win re-election in 2024. Will it? Do you have a crystal ball that works? Because I sent my crystal ball to the wizard in a shop decades ago. I've never got it back. So I don't have that advantage anymore. Maybe you do. If you do have, share it. Okay. There's no guarantee that Trump will win re-election. He should. But based on 2020 and based on the fact that the left has done anything and everything to us that they so desire, and there's been basically no pushback. I mean, talking about doing something and then uniting by the tens of millions as patriots and doing something about it are two totally different things. The left does not see our side ever uniting by the tens of millions and doing something. In fact, they're confident that you never will. And therefore, they are confident in their continued quest to destroy this country. They know there's no opposition except for Donald Trump. It's one man, folks. They can stop one man. What's going to happen if they do stop him permanently? You all just going to woe is me and just continue in our patriotic stance, which is with your pants dropped, bent over, grabbing your ankles, because that's what we do. That's what you're doing. Our founding fathers would be very embarrassed at this point in time and probably be telling every one of you, you know what, guys, you deserve everything that they're about to do to you. You deserve it. So this is what you people need to start. You need to shake off your ignorance, denial, and fear and understand what is being done to us is real. This is not a drill. This is DEFCON 4 right now. This is it. It's amazing. And I've studied enough history to know I've seen one civilization after another, one group of people from one country after another do the same thing. They're like, well, I'm going to keep our mouth shut. They won't come for me until they do come for them. And then who's there to help them? Oh, wait, nobody. Because nobody spoke up. You think by being quiet, you're going to be safe. No, by being quiet, you're putting yourself and your families in extreme danger. Now, let's talk about another thing that I've been following basically my entire adult life and then some. It's global warming. In Europe this last winter, more people died of freezing to death. Cold kills more people than heat. every year. It's not even close. So as the utility bills got so expensive across Europe, people just couldn't afford to pay it, especially the elderly. They couldn't afford to pay it. So many more times numbers of people died this last year of freezing to death than in any normal year. Look it up. I know that requires a few minutes of your time. Too bad. So let's just take this out a little farther. Once the Green New Deal is mostly implemented in this country, and we've cut our energy production by 75, 80%. In other words, let me translate that for you. 25% of the country will have power. We'll have 25% of the power output that we have now. That's all that solar, wind, and hydro and nuclear can provide combined is 25%. And that's on perfect days. Perfect wind, perfect sunlight, perfect everything. How often does that happen? I'll give you a guess. Never. So that means we'll have 75 to 80% less electrical generation than we have now. Do any of you really understand what that means? Let me break it down for you. 8 out of 10 of you won't have access to power. Period. The blue cities, they'll have their power, absolutely. Because we know what they do when they get pissed off. They burn buildings down, rob things, and kill people. We know this. We saw it here in St. Louis as well. So the rest of us, trust me when I tell you, you're not going to have power. So when you get a cold winter, and most winters are really cold, and you don't have power, especially the elderly and the ill, they're going to be dying in huge numbers because they don't have electricity. Our hospitals, our doctors' offices, our emergency responders, they're not going to have power. They're not going to be able to gas up their freaking vehicles because there's no electricity going to the gas stations for the pumps. So on and so forth. Think, people, put on those stinking caps. The ones that, well, most of you never even had one on. You had on an indoctrination cap. Stop it. Your lives are at stake on this. Nothing less than your lives. What happened in Europe this last year was just a microcosm of what's going to happen there and here as we continue to shut down our baseline power production and try to replace it with clean energy. I talk to my dogs and cats about this once in a while, and they just laugh their little furball asses off. They can't believe that people are that stupid, that gullible to believe this nonsense. They also can't believe that people who don't believe it and who know better are keeping their mouth shut. What are you waiting on? Let's call out the science. I knew he was being lied to on the COVID thing from day one about the mask and all that nonsense, which we can now talk about. But sadly, most of y'all didn't. I don't understand why. But they sold you a bunch of bullshit. Most of you ate it up like candy at Halloween. Gotta be ashamed of yourselves. They use the same strategy with COVID as they've always used with man-made global warming. They make up a bunch of crap, have scientists say so, and shut down and debunk any scientist that tries to say, no, this is really what's going on. Just same thing they did with COVID. And over the last 40 years, 45 years, they've been just indoctrinating one generation of kids after another to believe this BS. Man-made global warming is no more true than wearing a mask will stop COVID. Is no more true than the jab will prevent you from catching COVID or transmitting COVID. I knew that was a lie when they said it. Now we all know it's a lie, all of you people, because it's been admitted. And they're like, okay, sorry, we didn't know. The hell you didn't know. They knew. But they also knew, based on their decades long experiment with the man made global warming, that they could lie to the majority of people and they're never going to be questioned because the people just farm out their thinking to, oh, the experts. You don't take time to study anything. The exact same strategies was deployed on COVID. They're still using the man-made global warming hoax because they've been at that for so long and they're in so deep with it. And you all have taken the bait, the hook, the line, and the sinker. All of it. Now, is this the fate that you want for yourself, your children, your grandchildren? Because this is the fate that you are allowing to take place. Now, let's add on a little bit. They want to ban natural gas ranges, natural gas heated water tanks, furnaces, and all new construction or retro construction would then all have to be powered by electric. You people can't be that stupid to believe any of that, can you? Really? So we're adding even more requirements to generate more electricity. Our current grid system on baseline would find all that additional stuff, not to mention the EVs hooked up to it, a challenge, much less your little windmill and solar panel, which you need about 6 billion solar panels to generate the amount of electricity required every day for this country. Now, that's based on 8 hours a day of sunlight in perfect conditions. Of course, the sun doesn't shine at night. There's no overage of power created to store in these batteries that are massive and cost hundreds of millions of dollars. So, how are you going to get the power? Oh, and the wind doesn't always blow either, especially in the summer. The summer months around here, especially that wind, I mean, you can't buy a breeze most days. You want to power? How are you going to power your house? You're being lied to. You're being suckered. You're being played. Where's your survival instincts? You can kick in anytime now. And for you people saying, I'm going to go homestead some ground and grow a garden. Well, God bless you. You go ahead and do that. But not all 330 million of us can do that. The best offense is to go after them. We take them down. We stop this BS before it's fully implemented. That's what you do. You don't sit back and go, well, I got my acre out here. You know, I grew up on a farm. We had 6 kids, and there for a while, you know, we'd have a grandma living with us, or a great grandmother, another child that we took in for a year or so. We had a really big garden. And it's a lot of work, and it still wasn't enough vegetables and fruits to get through a year. It was close. Now, because we lived on a farm, we had access to, you know, the hogs, the cattle, we had the chickens, we had the eggs, we had the milk, cream, we had all that. We didn't go to the store for a whole lot of things. We just didn't. So, unless it was Mommy Dearest going to the store to get her cases of Coke, which were in bottles then. So, and boy, those were heavy, especially on those return days. You might be taking 20 of those cases into the A&P to get your return deposit to buy more. It's crazy. Anyway, you all have no clue what it takes to raise a garden. How you going to can the things? Kind of hard to can without. You have to have all the jars and lids and seals and heat, cooking, pressure. even if you dehydrate them. Those dehydrators are great, but man, they require some sort of power on that too. So y'all haven't thought it out. It sounds good in theory. In practice, it's really hard to do. Now, let's say you get it done. You've got the money to make it work, and then the word gets out. Just the word will that you got this really great garden you're ready to harvest. Are you going to have the ability to defend that garden? Are you going to have the ability to defend the stores of food that you have saved? You need to ask yourselves these questions. Will you be able to defend them? Probably not. Unless you have your own private military contractors, then you're not going to be able to do that. We haven't thought that out. You say these feel good things to make you feel better and not feel so in danger. Maybe some of you gone out and bought an acre or 2 or 3 around. That's great. That's wonderful. Have you sunk a well in it? Doesn't do any good if you don't have water. Have you run any kind of power generation at all? Probably not. Now, at a localized power level, you can build out some windmills and then even some solar panels to get you by. You can't run a city off of them. You can't run a country off of them. At a local level, at a minimal level, you can, but not as running a country or running your local hospital. It's not possible. You just have to have too much going on and count on everything being perfect. Right. So, and then y'all need to find out, and I've posted these pictures online before, what strip mining looks like. Because now they're talking about locating these minerals in our country. We know where a lot of these minerals are at, and starting to strip mine in our country again. Strip mining. A lot of you people have no clue what it was. We haven't done that here on any kind of major level in decades. Look it up. Wow. Talk about an environmental disaster. Your an oil well takes up just several hundred square feet. Once it's drilled, tap, put the pump in. That's it. Your mines that you gotta dig up miles, hundreds of thousands of cubic tons of dirt and debris to get a couple specks of lithium or cobalt, whatever they're digging for. It's a massive operation, but y'all don't know. You just, it feels good to you. If it feels good and sounds good, odds are it isn't either one. So y'all have some homework to do. Patriots, you need to stop beating your chest and saying you're a patriot and organize. You see, the left never stops. They're busy attacking us 24/7, 365, and have been for decades. While we sit back, and I know I've gone to hundreds of meetings with Republican politicians and elected officials, and they also back say, well, there's, they're not going to do anything. They're going to do this crazy stuff. Well, they do. And then they say, well, we got to get along with the Democrats. No, you don't. We have nothing in common. Nothing. So why they want to continue to weaken their position and give up on their principles to align themselves with Democrats so they can get along with them? No, that's just horrible. That's dooming the entire nation. So, folks, we are a constitutional republic. You are the power. You are the voice. You are the ones who grant people, our elected officials, your consent to govern. You have that right to withdraw that consent, and just not on election days. This government is out of line. It represents a threat to our God-given rights in our country, our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. and others. They're interfering with those rights. It is your job, your duty to abolish that government. And by that, I don't mean our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. I mean our elected officials. You have the right to fire them tomorrow. Millions of you get together and say, okay, we've had it. Biden on down, out. We're done. And I know you people say, well, we'll just get the same people again. No, you won't. Yeah, people have to understand, once you rise up and you exercise your authority, whether it's against your elected officials, your government, whether it's against the media apparatuses that continue to lie and misrepresent and divide the people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Once you do that, if you were to do that, those who come along to replace those institutions or those elected officials will now know they better walk straight and narrow, because the people have spoken. The people stood up finally and exercised their authority. Nobody is going to do that stunt again. No, you're not going to spend millions of dollars to get elected to an office and then screw up and then have your constituents come in and say, no, we're escorting you off the property. You're fired. You don't need to wait for election day to do that. If you all did what I've asked you to do countless times and stop sending your money to the media, like any of your satellite or cable companies that you send money to, they are part of the huge conglomerates that control 85% of the media that lies 24 hours a day and 7 days a week for the left and about to right. They divide. You're funding that. Stop it. Bankrupt them. Oh, I know, John, we could do that, but they just won't learn. Yes, they'll learn their lesson. You all need to stop and listen to how defeatist you all sound. Every time I hear you all say that. Well, John, somebody come along and say that. No, they're not. There won't be somebody that's going to say, okay, say we bankrupt them, which we could do in a matter of a few months. Do you think that anybody with money is going to start a news network organization or satellite company or any of that, and then do the same thing that their predecessors did? No. Why are they going to put up billions of dollars just to piss you off again, so you then bankrupt them? Think, people. Once you stand up on your 2 feet, like God intends you to do, and exercise your authority over our country, which our founders expect you to do, and designed our country for you to do just that. Once you do that, they're not going to try it again. Nobody's going to fund that. We tried that once in the good old US of A, and finally those chicken shit stood up, exercised their authority over us, and shut us down. No, we're not going to spend another dime rebuilding the same thing that they just shut down. I've got to be making some sense to some of you. Please tell me I am. I am tired of the negative, self-defeatist attitude of our people. It's old saying, you get the government you deserve. Right now, I have to say, by your lack of actions, you'll deserve what the left is going to do to you. The tyranny, the starvation, the lack of power, the massive death tolls piling up. Y'all right now deserve it because you haven't done a damn thing to stop it, except for put all your eggs in one basket with Trump. Again, what happens if they take out Trump? What are you going to do? Are you just going to go, well, nothing we can do? Our savior got, in jail or dead. I mean, really, what are you going to do? See, Trump would be more powerful if he saw on a regular basis, like daily, millions of people in grassroots organizations with one goal, one thing to do, on the same page, And that's to stop the Democrat Party. And the fastest way to do that is to take out their command, control, and communications, which is the media. The very media that you all send billions of dollars a month to with your cable and satellite subscriptions, and even some of the cell phone providers, especially AT&T. I stopped them 3 years ago, and I told you all why. I just couldn't do it. So they were the worst of the worst. Stop it. They have two things they want from us: our silence and our money, and you're giving them both. If I sound harsh, good. Somebody needs to talk to you all like you're about 5, because no one is having a straightforward conversation with any of you. You've been lied, you've been played, you've been fooled. You've been dumbed down, you've been indoctrinated. I was immune from that BS. If I heard something that wasn't sounding right, I investigated multiple sources until I got to the truth. Does that take time and effort? Yes. Is it frustrating? It can be. But I never used the excuse of, well, I got to work 90 hours a week as an excuse not to do it. Or I've got to work 90 hours a week and help my now ex with her 7 kids. I never use that as an excuse not to learn, not to be educated on the subject matter. Neither should you. See, that doesn't work for me. You use your kids as an excuse why you can't do these things, when your kids must be the reason you do those things. Does that make sense? Quit using your children as an excuse why, well, you just don't have time. They're the reasons you must make the time. On that note, folks, I hope you have a good rest of the day, and I hope you start really thinking about what I've been talking about on this video, this podcast, and others. You all have a decision to make, and you must be making it post haste. We lose this election in 2024, we've lost our country. Right now, we're not going to win this election. Everything that was in place for the cheat in 2020 is still there. Nothing's changed. You all have the power, the legal authority over this government. You have the financial might to crush our enemies. First ones being the command, communication, control of the Democrat Party, which is the media. You have the authority, the ability to crush them. Not a shot fired. It's up to you. Look at your kids, look at your grandkids, and ask yourself, do you want them living under a communist regime? If you don't know what a communist regime looks like, I suggest you start finding out. Read about or watch documentaries on North Korea. Read books or documentaries about East and West Berlin, North and South Korea, what's going on, what has been going on in Venezuela, what happened to Cuba. Educate yourselves, because that shit's coming here. And you all are not even attempting to stop it. Donald Trump is one man. He cannot do it all. He looks around and he doesn't see anybody next to him. Oh, they show up at a rally, but that's it. Then they go home and they feel all good about themselves for going to rally. Hey, at least I run for office. I go to meetings. I do podcasts. I do everything that I can as a low-life, no-account individual who only gives a shit about the country and the people in it. I do all that I can, and I try to reach out to the people with the big voices, but they're too busy selling books to unite under one conservative Christian umbrella and stop the Democrats. They're too busy making money off of it. It's sad, but it's true. And they all know who they are. I'm not that person. I'm not going to get a dime off any of this. Never have and never will. I want my country saved from Satan's people, the Democrat Party. It's that simple. If you go along with abortion, transgenderism, butchering children, DEI, which I call DIE, CRT, all of that. If you go along with that, or if you think it's benign, you're part of the problem. So if you can't join us, at least sit down and be quiet. Don't do anything to help them. Stop voting for them. Stop sending them money. The rest of you, if you actually give a damn, like you claim you do, I expect to start seeing some very, very serious uniting going on. I've already given you the blueprint how to do this. Can't do it for you. I can only tell you what needs to be done and why. That's it. Which puts me way ahead of anybody else because y'all don't think there's a problem. And those of you who do think, well, there's nothing I can do about it. Trump will take care of it. Without ever having any critical thinking about any of this. So, on that note, I'm going to take a chill pill and go outside, get some sun, and go for a swim. Have a good day, everybody.